The perfect blend of a post-race high and the pre-race jitters is the break between races of a doubleheader Saturday night, and that's where we find ourselves right now once again from New Smyrna Speedway, streaming cyberspace into your place. It's the Virtual Grip Network's 8th round coverage of the Bootleg Racing League's Late Model Invitational Series Season 27. Well, stable the horses, get the women folk off the sidewalks because there's a new sheriff in town, and his badge is in the shape of a maple leaf. On the heels of a third place finish at Myrtle Beach, the Canadian Goose, John Wilson, has moved back to the top of the points. For Wilson, the sweetness of his season opening win was quickly bittered by a round 2 15th, but steady results since then has allowed Wilson to climb his way back to the top. Points leader going into last round, Todd Liston, found trouble early, fought back only to find it again late. Liston's 14th dropped him from the points lead to 8 markers back. Behind Wilson and Liston looms Double Deuce Bruce Pearson and Kurt Smith, but many eyes are on the man in 5th. Mike Holloway has 2 wins, and despite a 24-point gap to the points lead, if he gets hot again and can stay hot, he could be a factor come the last round. Can Holloway close the gap? Can Wilson increase his lead? Can Liston get the lead back? To find out, pull the lever on the Lazy Boy and settle in for the simulated short track racing action that's about to stream your way. From the state that made the Hanging Chad famous, hello and welcome on this Saturday night, August 17th, 2024. Well, joining me again, it's Zach Shaggy Chapman, and I'm Bill Soupson, high up in the BGN broadcast booth to bring you our Words Eye View. Who's pushing the knobs and pulling the sliders? Well, it is none other than Replay Ryan Senator. All right, Shaggy, we just did the modifieds here. There's some banking at this track. Late models maybe a little bit less powerful than those modifieds. What do you think we're going for here?
Well, you know, I gotta hit a quick alternate. I was gonna say riding on board here with Trey Bloom, and he pulls off the track, but now we're gonna go on with Bobby Hayes is gonna pull off. Guys, they're killing me here. Mike Holloway. Oh my gosh, Soup. What kind of life am I living here? All right, we're gonna ride on with Todd Liston, and Todd Liston's a perfect person to have because I want to have him go through 3 and 4 here. Like Soup was saying, 23 degrees of banking. Now, guys aren't really playing with that apron here in 1 and 2, but the last time I saw him in 3 and 4, as long as it's clear, I'm going to hope he gives us an example. All right, so using those brakes, yeah, he's going to dip 2 tires down below that yellow line, and it's going to help turn the car. It's with the way the balance is compared to those modifieds, it just really helps rotate it. We're going to see guys really fight a loose car here those last 30 laps if they're trying to run that low on corner exit, but it's going to be a big payoff here in the beginning.
And of course, Todd Liston did not have the result he wanted last time. We talked about it in the opening as he finished 14th. He bested Donnie Moore by 1 position, who came in 15th, so look for Moore and Liston on the front row when we go green here tonight. Let's go ahead and quickly take a look at the points for you. With no drivers making season debuts at Myrtle Beach, the number of drivers who have raced at least once this season holds at 27, with 11 having raced in all previous 7 events. There you see him, John Wilson. He scored his 4th podium at Myrtle Beach and is making, get this, his 75th career late model start here tonight. Over the last 3 races, Todd Liston has averaged a 12th. Double Deuce Bruce Pearson has yet to miss the top 10. A 12th dropped Kurt Smith a spot. Mike Holloway, well, his season worst was 18th, and that came last week. But remember, he has those 2 wins and a 4th before that. If he gets hot again, watch out. And then for the drivers that are 6th through 10th, 1 has never eaten a banana, 1 is allergic to cats, 1 plays the glockenspiel, and 2 are high school state record holders for the shot put. So you can assign to each his own. That's going to take us to our soup of the day, where we can be a little more specific. And it is going to be Trey Bloom and Simon and Poindexter in the smoke-filled back rooms of those Vegas casino has set the number for Trey Bloom at 8.5. My goodness, that's even lower than we thought. All right, Shaggy, bet the under if you think he'll do 8th or better over 9th or worse.
Well, you know, I hate to be negative Nancy here, but with the way he was running 3 and 4, I think that's going to be aggressive on those right rear tire. And well, Soup, I don't think he's going to get the under. I'm going to take the over.
Oh, we always like it when my fellow commentator has to go negative and take the over. I, if I was in that position, would always pick the under because I love all the drivers equally and expect them all to do better than they're expected. But Shaggy's a pessimist, and, you know, you get what you pay for. All right, let's go ahead and look at the front row. On the front row, we talked about it earlier, it is the veteran, Donnie Moore. He's going to be inside of Todd Liston, hoping to get his point lead back.
Inside of row number 2, the 39 of Joseph Snyder into his outside, the 6 of Kurt Smith.
It is baby Tom Hilbert in the 5th position. He's going to be inside of our spotlighted driver, the Canadian cancer researcher, the man who spent several years living in a cave, Trey Bloom.
The inside of row number 4, we've got the 81 of Joe Segala into his outside, double deuce Bruce Pearson.
The Canadian Goose, John Wilson, your points leader, is in 9th, inside of Jeffrey Hart.
The 93 of Chris Hazlip rolls off P11 into his outside, the number 23 of Mike Holloway.
In the Baker's Dozen spot is former police chief of Plain City, Ohio, Steve Hilbert, the chief. He's going to be flanked by the man notorious from working his way through the back of the pack to the front. He's going to get to do it again tonight, Adam Shane.
The boss man, Lowell Jewell, rolls off on the inside of row number 8 into his outside. In the lucky number 13, got Bobby Hayes.
It's summertime, so get out the tent and your cook stove, because it's Jeffrey Happy Kemper back there in 17th spot. 17 drivers here tonight. The 18th driver, of course, the perfectly mesmerizing Josie Kirkland behind the wheel of the pace car. She's going to pull the pace car down and turn control of this field over to Donnie Moore. Glad you're here with us tonight. Round number 8. Chug-a-lug, makes you want to holler, hi-da-ho! And Donnie Moore gets the jump down into corner number 1. Working the outside is Todd Liston, but no! The butcher at Baton Rouge, Joe Snyder, wants part of that, but the momentum to the top side is going to go to Snyder. No, it's going to go to Liston. Snyder does not give up the ghost, though, as he fights back hard and now will lead across the line for lap number 2. No, I correct, as Liston gets the best out of it. Shaggy, this is interesting. Looks like the top line is competitive, at least early. Oh, no, it's not! Oh. Liston gets loose, gets up to the wall, comes back down, collects Kurt Smith, and it continues to wreck farther down.
And still no caution out.
Involved in it. My gosh, there are amputated limbs on the track right now, and they will not throw the caution flag. What the heck is going on? Oh, put the hammer in the oven because the camel has learned to read. I don't know what I'm looking at. There were not one, but 2 incidents. Here's the first one. Both cars spin off to the inside. I guess that one. Then if we can scroll somewhere, and there was another one. We'll see. Oh, it's Hayslip got into it with Bobby Hayes. Hayslip was perpendicular on the track.
Yeah, not too sure what's going on there, because the lap previous, you see the 93 go low on each straightaway and let cars by, and then kind of see him run Bobby up in the wall there a little bit. So there's probably a little more to that story.
Sweet sassy Molassie, what are we watching here? Well, let's go ahead and set the table up front. You know, I was debating whether it was Snyder or Liston who was going to get credited with that second position. Well, the iRacing race stewards have, well, I don't know, they're not throwing the flags, but they're making decisions here, and they're going to give it to the butcher of Baton Rouge, Joe Snyder. Liston will be in 3rd. Look for a big mover so far through the field. Well, how about Lowell Jewell? I guess he got most of that by avoiding attrition. He started in 16th position, and he's racing in, 15th, racing in 11th now.
And that caution came out just in time because the leaders are screaming through 1 and 2 coming at those 2 cars on the backstretch. So good for Kurt Smith and Tom Hilbert. They're not going to lose a lap.
Okay, New Smyrna apparently is notorious for long yellow flag sections. We're not going to go to an interview right now, but we will. We'll dial up the Butcher of Baton Rouge, Joe Snyder, if the lights stay on the pace cars. They come across here. The pace car comes across. The drivers will be working lap number 7 as they do. And the lights stay on, so let's dial up Ribeye Joe Snyder. Joe, it's Soup Up in the booth. You got a copy?
I'm here, man.
All right, well, you're going to be on the outside. You had a nice little battle there with Liston early on, and iRacing gave you the spot.
Lucky me.
Shaggy?
You know, right now sitting P2 here, what's the plan? Are you going to be aggressive on this restart, try to pinch Donnie Moore down, or are you kind of okay with riding P2 for now?
I'm good with riding for a while. I mean, I'd love to get a good jump and you know, at least lead a lap or two, but I'm not going to try to do anything aggressive at this point.
Joe, you were top 5 in practice speeds. You like this place? You feeling good?
I like it, but you know, sometimes you just get that lucky lap.
All right, man, you're doubling up. Good luck.
Lucky lap. Love the modesty.
Not unthinkable for the top side to have a run here. Donnie Moore on the inside. He's feeling very confident here at New Smyrna. I won't give away any spoilers, but he's feeling good right now based on what happened. Joe Snyder trying to get down in front of Liston. Liston says, oh no! Snyder trying to close the door like Queen Elsa on her coronation, and he can't do it. Now he clears Liston. I'll spot for you, Joe. Clear. Liston tucks into 3rd. Trey Bloom, the caveman, racing back there in 4th, and there's Joe Segala running at your top 5.
Yeah, it looked like they're coming out of 2 on the opening lap there. Joe Snyder got a little loose, but Liston realized, hey, man, a long way to go. I don't need to push this issue, and just let him gather it up and fell in line here at P3. Long way to go.
Okay, they're cooking up a yellow flag a little farther back. Tuck on the top side is Jeffrey Harden. Harden doing his very best to get underneath Mike Holloway in the 23. Holloway has 2 wins already to his credit. He has 2 wins and a 4th place before he had a disastrous race last time at Myrtle Beach. He is still in the championship hunt if he can get it going. Right now, Holloway racing in 9th position, up 3 from where he started. Correction, 8th position, up 4 from where he started. Now they start to go single file almost everywhere on the track.
Just really like how Todd Liston looks right now. He's entering a little higher, using that brake to turn the car in the middle of the corner, and he's getting great runs off exit. It's only a matter of time here before he tries to make a move on the 39.
You look at Todd Liston, he races in 3rd. You want to talk big picture racing, John Wilson, your points leader, is back in 6th, but a long putt away from the leaders right now. Our spotlighted driver, Trey Bloom, started in 6th, picks up 2 spots, is racing in 4th, leading that 2nd train. On the tracks behind Bloom is Segala, Pearson, Holloway. Holloway really the caboose of that train. Then you get back to the next set of drivers. Jeffrey Harden. Adam Shane, who's notorious for working his way through the field. Sure enough, he's up 4 positions already. With the boss man, Lowell Jewell.
You know, this next position Adam needs, it's not going to be easy, as we know how good Jeffrey Harden is. But right now, Jeffrey either a little off his mark or just trying to save his tires. Big gap to the car up in front of him like Holloway.
You look at this, everybody in single file. Looks like Pasadena on New Year's Day here as we got a little parade of cars going by.
And, you know, it's a case of soup. Nobody wants to burn up their stuff early, but, I mean, as this race goes on, it's harder and harder to make that pass. So there's a fine line, you know. Not everybody can be like that 55 of Steven Spies and pass everybody the whole time, but you got to figure out your moments, and you can't let it escape when it's right there. And here goes John Wilson looking low on the 81.
Director read my mind there as we had a stationary shot of all the cars going by single file. Wilson said enough of this parade. He tries to get it underneath Segala. And I believe the inside line will prevail, we'll say, on this battle until it is finished. Segala has issues because Pearson, if he can get on the back of Wilson, he could keep Segala out there as well. And there's Holloway. Holloway knows how to race and how to keep people in an uncomfortable position. Look at the run from Zagala off of 2. He's going to clear Wilson, the outside line. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and you know, Soup, that's what I was going to say. John, as he went to make the pass in 3 and 4, he did excellent. Ran the 81 up the hill, and then in 1 and 2, you know, maybe a little full of himself. Thought he had to pass up as the 81 gets loose. Now he gets to switch roles. He gets to go on the high side.
Well, from what Wilson just saw, I'm not sure if Wilson's going to be able to finish this now. They're side by side. Where Segala was really good was coming off of 2. They go through 1 and 2 right now. Let's see if the 75 can get the same drive off that the 81 did. Sure enough, he does. Is he going to clear him? And he does, and Wilson's going to tuck down there and give Wilson now what would be 5th position.
It just seems like coming off of 2, guys don't have the grip that they do off of 3, and if you want to complete a pass on the bottom, you really got to do, like I said earlier, you got to run them up the hill a little bit. You got to make them uncomfortable on entry. You can't let them drive in that middle if they've got the high side.
Let's go up front and tell you what's going on up there. He's led the entire way, 23 laps, looking to go wire to wire is old-time Donnie Moore, but he has not pulled it away from Ribeye Joe Snyder, and Todd Liston is right there as well. Liston, again, as we always talk, big picture racing in 3rd. Wilson back in 5th right now. Some interesting racing lines from the Butcher of Baton Rouge, just trying to, I don't know, maybe get under more or keep Liston guessing.
Yeah, I think it's more to keep Liston at bay, and I think it's only going to hurt him throughout the race here, Soup. He's entering so low that he's got to put a lot of wheel into the car, and they're going to pay for that on lap 70 or so. I really like the lane Liston's taking, and honestly, Trey Bloom, he's gone against what he did in practice. He's making me eat my words here. He's following that line of the 87, and they both look real fast right now.
We're looking at the 23 of Mike Holloway rolling the top side around Joe Segala. And the top side is rolling as they're going to bring Jeffrey Harden, everyone coming around high, wide, and handsome on Joe Segala. Segala's stuck underneath. That is now Adam Shane in the 79 up there.
Yeah, he kissed the wall a little bit coming out of 2, but not enough to slow him down. He saw that gap. I mean, he needed to go for it while it was there, and he's going to complete the pass.
More side-by-side racing back here. Segala, give me 10 seconds as a spoiler alert. Did a great job in the SK Modifieds as he raced up front, fell back and ended up with a 3rd position. Having a harder time here in the late models. Okay, I hope you're back. We are going to get that spoiler alert button that we're going to put on the screen here very soon. I'm going to have that for you.
Second. Oh, never mind. He tucked back up in line. Boy, he had a big run. Liston thought about it.
Liston has been working. He's going to try one more time. There he is out of 2 again. You talked about it, Shaggy. The coming out of 2 seems to where the momentum is. Now he's down low. This is interesting. Can the Butcher of Baton Rouge, Ribeye Joe Snyder, pin Liston down there? Boy, he gets a great drive in through 1 and 2. They come out. Now, this is where the top side has been working. Let's see if it works for Liston, for Snyder as well. It does not. And I think Liston is going to be able to finish this down the front straight.
Yeah, Liston just entering, you know, not as low as you normally would for the bottom, and that's all it takes to get that guy uncomfortable. He's overdrives the middle of the corner a little bit and then can't get that good exit on the top. And Liston, textbook pass.
More Liston, Snyder, and Bloom. Our spotlighted driver, Trey Bloom, racing well above the line. Got a long way to go, but right now, making my partner look pretty negative for his pessimistic pick.
Looks like, oh man, we almost had a battle for the lead there as Todd Liston. He wants to go. That thing, his tires are feeling good right now. He doesn't want to slow down.
We're looking at Trey Bloom, but there's good racing going all the way. Let's watch up front here. There's Liston hounding Donnie Moore. Stalking him like an ex-lover not happy about the prefix.
And you can just see he backs up the corner. I mean, he gets pulled away from on entry, but he just rolls the middle so well, especially in 1 and 2, that it's just a matter of time here, Soup. Tick, tick, tick.
Perhaps But if anyone can race like a kidney stone, it is Donnie Moore, as he is hard to pass right now. Liston looking at alternative lines. That's going to allow Snyder to get back into it, and Trey Bloom is lurking back there.
Yeah, that 32 machine, I talked about it. I mean, he got a driving lesson there from Liston early, just mirrored him, running exactly high entry in 1 and 2. He's still doing it in 3 and 4, and he's going to have a lot of rubber left on those sneakers here at the coming laps. And at 32, he's going to be a guy we're talking about coming in.
You can see the white car at the very top of your screen. Now at the bottom of your screen, watch, he'll come in there again. That is John Wilson, your points leader, racing in 5th. Only 2 spots behind, no, correction, 3 spots behind Liston right now. Liston says he never pays attention to what the points mean while he's racing. He pays attention to it only between races. Right now, Liston looking to the inside of Donnie Moore.
He's doing all he can here, and he knows now the 39. I mean, he's back to him. So if he makes a move here, Soup, he's got to make sure it works, or all of a sudden he's got to play defense here for P2.
I'm not sure if these cars are racing fastest to slowest or slowest to fastest. I think out of the 4 up front, Donnie might be the slowest, and Trey Bloom might be the quickest. Liston looking to the left, looking to the right. You know what I'm going to say, but I'll say it anyway. Working both sides of the track like a jaywalking milkman is Todd Liston. Great drive off of 4. I know there is great battles everywhere, but the most exciting battle right now is right up here in front.
And you know, when you're driving like Todd is, you're just hoping the guy in front of you makes a mistake, because Todd is backing up these corners. It's not like he's going to overdrive the corner here and give Donnie a little shove out of the way. He's forcing Donnie to make a mistake. And I mean, you talked about, I mean, the amount of wins he has at this track, Soup. It's not likely that 26 is going to make a mistake. You're going to have to force one.
We have to tell the whole story very quickly. Let's look at the 79 and the 23. They are coming. They could be a factor later in the race. They just worked around the number 36 of Jeffrey Harden and are on their way. They're not really racing hard right now. They're just trying to close the gap to the front 4. And look what the number 75, remember a while ago when we had that big picture and we were showing you that you could hardly see the 75 in the screen? He's there now.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it. It's nothing slight on the 26 here, but he's arguably the slowest car here out of the front 5. I mean, he's just got enough pace that he's putting it right in the racing line, and he's doing what he has to do. And who knows, Soup, maybe he's saving some tires doing it as well, but long way to go here.
Just fast enough to stay out in front, just wide enough to stay out in front is Donnie Moore.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, he's fighting for his literal life here is Donnie Moore. You know, if he loses one spot to Liston, look at that line of sharks behind him. I mean, you're not just going to lose one if you give up the bottom. So he's got to hit his marks.
It's chum in the water if Moore gets to the outside with Liston underneath him. That is for sure. I'm telling you right now, if I can this base from racing line, who's using up more stuff? It's Liston. Liston seems to be tighter. He gets a good drive off of 2. He cannot keep using up tire equity and not get the pass done. Now he moves underneath. Donnie Moore has got a race for all he is worth. He is not only racing for 1st position, he's racing for what could be 5th position.
Yeah, and there you go. You know, you're going to pinch him down. He's doing what he has to do. That's what you got to do when you're up top. Hats off to Donnie Moore. He's not going to make this easy.
What a great camera shot we're looking at right now as we're sitting on top watching him do the entire lap. Liston to the inside, Moore on the outside. Moore with a good run off of 2 as he gets a little momentum, pulls ahead of Liston. They are Cialis bathtubs through 3 and 4. They come out romantic racing, and finally Liston gets the best of it. Donnie Moore with a little bit of a hokey doke, a little bit of dipsy-do, a little bit of an under, but he has to back off.
Yeah, and, you know, he's going to wonder what if there. The race car driver in him wanted to send it into turn 1, but did the smart thing and able to slot right back down in the line in P2 and just live to race another day.
Well, now the story changes for Joe Snyder and Trey Bloom. They were happy to wait back there a while. Maybe they cannot now. The same thing with John Wilson, maybe more even to an extreme, as Wilson is worried about the points differential between him and the leader of the race, Todd Liston. Now, look at Wilson and then watch as they go by. Watch for the cars at the bottom of the screen. Here they come. Adam Shane and Mike Holloway. We told you they were a-coming, and they are.
Tell you what, though, the Goose, the Canadian Goose, that 75, man, he's got the wings flapping. He's going to the high side here, Soup. He's looking to the outside of Trey Bloom.
Wilson knows what time it is. It's not boogie time because we don't do that here in the late models, but he knows he's got to go, and he gets the spot on the caveman.
And, you know, it didn't look like Trey fought too hard there. He knows there's a long way to go, but, man, did that 75 make it look easy on top. And it inflated that head a little bit. He's going to try it again here, I think. He's excited about what he found.
Now, like Odysseus between the devil and the deep blue sea, is Joe Snyder. Snyder had Moore ahead of him and had the coming John Wilson behind him. Snyder getting underneath Donnie Moore right now. Moore, who led. Go ahead.
Right in front of them, Lapper, Jeff Kemper here, Soup. So this could get really interesting. Jeff let the leader by. He's going to go higher, but they're going to be 3 wide.
Happy to say he catches him. There just wasn't room for Donnie Moore. They keep it going straight. It is simulated racing, but Kemper's car has mass. It has volume. It has to take up an area on the racetrack. He did all he could, but my partner called it 3 wide. Does it ever work? The answer is no.
And, you know, it's real easy to look at that to Jeff Kemper in the 8 and say, hey, man, what are you doing? But, I mean, a caution comes out, Soup. He wants the lucky dog. He pulled out far enough of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, can't really put the blame on him. That's just the tough racing deal.
If you're a back marker, you got to let one guy go through single file, but you are not expected to be able to let 2 guys go through in a 3-wide position. That's not on Kemper at all. But Donnie Moore goes in the wall, but as what Donnie Moore does, we talked about it so often. Moore seems to get in incidents, but somehow manages to keep the car pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, but, man, that was a tough stint in the wall there. You know, not going to – car's definitely not ruined, but, man, it's not going to handle the same here as he actually –
He seems to be
Kemper
struggling.
Drives around him. Yeah, that car's struggling.
So let's set the stage for you now. Todd Liston is your leader. John Wilson has moved up into 3rd. The Butcher Baton Rouge Joe Snyder racing between those 2. Remember, Wilson is your points leader. Liston, who had it for most of the season, is now in 2nd. Our spotlighted driver, Trey Bloom, continues to race up front. He's lost a position to somebody, gained a position from another one, races in 4th. But here they come. We've documented it. Adam Shane and Mike Holloway.
And, you know, they've done it without any help, Soup. No caution flags. So you got to think either they've got a lot of pace here and, you know, they just kept it in the bag there in the opening laps, or they burn up a lot of stuff catching up. So they've got to really save their stuff here as they try to get around these guys.
Boy, I'd like to ask them what they need, if they would like a yellow flag or if they like the way things are going. I think both Shane and Holloway would hope for maybe a 200-lap race instead of the 100 laps we have here. We talk so much about tires, we never talk much about the rule package, something that you need to know if you're new to the Bootleg Racing League. You have to finish the tires on the ones that brought you.
Yeah, and, you know, speaking of that, I'm watching a lot of rubber build up here on the high side of these corners. I mean, you overdrive one corner on these cold, hot tires, and you're going to pay for it for 3 or 4 laps. So you go on the high side to make a move, you got to make sure you do it right, or you're going to really, really mess up the handling of the car.
For all you who want to get into sim race broadcast, here is a rule of thumb. If a driver is up 7 positions and he also is the series organizer and pays your bills, you got to get him some screen time. We're talking about number 2, Lowell Jewell. Well done, boss man.
Yeah, Lowell's one of them, another quiet, smooth run like normal. Well, we saw the benefit of a late caution there in the modified. So a little caution here, and man, Lowell could be right there in that top 5 discussion again.
We spotlight drivers for a reason. We like to give drivers a little extra screen time every so often. We're talking about Trey Bloom right now, and boy, he has really lived up to expectations. They set the number in Vegas so high. I'm telling you, Simon and Poindexter, they're not in Vegas because they don't know what they're doing. Those guys are very good at setting the line right now, and Trey Bloom, really impressive. But, I have one more but in me, but one of Trey Bloom's Achilles heel, well, actually, he has 2 heels, and one of them is Achilles, and he burns up stuff early. He's a notorious for fading, so we'll see how much he has left here in the final 30 laps.
And, you know, speaking of fading a little bit, not to burst that 23's bubble, but Mike Holloway, he had caught up. I mean, he was right on the back of that 79, getting in the outside wall here these last couple of laps. I think his right side tires are really starting to scream at him.
And with that said, let's go up front, because maybe coming back, falling into Cleaver range of the Butcher of Baton Rouge is Todd Liston. I always like to talk about Joe Snyder and the car that he races in out there. I can't really see a sponsor right now. Used to be the Saucy's Pleasing Machine. It is, I don't know what it is.
We got some drama the last time this happened, Soup. Leaders coming up on some lap cars here.
Well, this time they decided to do it in single file, which seems like a much wiser way to do it. Todd Hilbert doing a good job of getting out of the way. I don't know how much experience Donnie Moore has in being a bark marker, but he did a fine job in his wounded number 26. Oh, that car is... Donnie, if we can get a quick look at Donnie Moore and his racing angle here through 1 and 2. That car is not feeling well. Lap number 75.
And all of a sudden, looky who there. Joe Snyder is starting to give that 87 a mirror full here, Soup.
You gotta figure.
Commentator's curse. He kisses the wall going down the backstretch. So sorry about that, Joe.
They say they don't pay attention to the points, but I find it hard to believe right now that John Wilson doesn't realize that that's Todd Liston up there, racing 2 spots ahead. Trey Bloom continues to race strong. Okay, there were those 2 drivers we talked about, Adam Shane and Mike Holloway. I think my partner mentioned it that maybe Holloway could not hang with Shane. But the 79 still looks pretty good as he's starting to take interesting racing lines now behind the 32 of Trey Bloom. And we have a car coming into pit lane. Oh, he's had to finally surrender Casper, is Donnie Moore.
Yeah, and you know, it's going to be one of those, you're just fed up of driving that. But man, in the scheme of things, boys, he was running P13. We know where that would have started him next week. And now all of a sudden, Chris Hazlett, he moves up into P15. We got a battle for the lead here.
He is looking all over him. And not only is there a battle for the lead, but 4th place as well. And as Trey Bloom looks on Wilson, that's the opportunity for Adam Shea to put it in the wall. And Todd Liston might have been playing a little bit of possum there. As he picks up the pace a little bit, the Butcher of Baton Rouge, Ribeye Joe Snyder, puts it in the wall.
Yeah, I mean, he saw that opening. He was just looking at that delicious dinner plate, Soup, and didn't let it cool off, man. He burned himself.
Passing at a premium right now. 18 laps to go. Adam Shane up 9 spots, our big mover. We talked about Lowell Jewell up 7. We're going to quickly talk about 3 drivers we haven't mentioned much. Let's look at Joe Segala back here, racing in 9th position. He's just ahead of Kurt Smith. And then we drop back, we can see Bruce Pearson back there as well. Just give everyone a little bit of screen time because we love you all. Last car on the lead lap, how about car number 52, the Chief, Steve Hilbert. 17 cars started, 12 on the lead lap, the Chief being the last one. And I may have spoke too soon because we go to the leader. Here comes Todd Liston up on Steve Hilbert. Look at Joe Snyder. Ribeye Joe hanging right in there.
Yeah, he is just praying that Steve Hilbert doesn't, or that Hilbert doesn't let him by easy here. He wants him to put up a fight. That 39, he's got some tires, but man, he's going to need some help.
Hilbert does a good job of slowing down, getting out of the way. Everybody gets by. It does not hurt corner exit. There are two real battles right now. It is Snyder working on the back of Liston. And Adam Shane is trying to find around the caveman, Trey Bloom.
He's looking to the outside here, but can he get it done? He's got to drive it in deep into turn 3. He does, but he's going to ride up the hill, and it's just going to go up a little too far.
It's a good drive off of 4, but he'll have to wait. The laps are clicking away. Donnie Moore led the first 49 laps.
Battle for the lead.
Liston got around him, and now Liston has given up. No, what a great run off of 4. Soup was about to call the pass made, but my goodness, like a rocket on the way to Venus was Todd Liston. Pinned to the inside now is Joe Snyder. Joe Snyder has got to use up whatever tires he has left to make this pass done. Slide up in front of him, Joe. No, he does not. Watching in the popcorn position is John Wilson. Wilson trying to pick which lane he wants. They come out of 2 dead even. Now the momentum will go to Liston. Liston drives it down in. Can he clear Joe Snyder? He doesn't think he's there yet. So Snyder goes through 3 and 4, and now he has the lead. Snyder better through 3 and 4. Liston better through 1 and 2. What a great battle going on as they work lap number 91, Shaggy.
Yeah, I mean, Liston just hitting his marks up there, and until the 39 of Joe Snyder is willing to use him a little bit up in the middle of the corner, I think Liston's in the preferred spot. Maybe not coming out of 4, but for 2 for sure. Snyder at the line.
Snyder doesn't have to finish the pass. Boy, Snyder gets it really down the left side, way under the yellow line, trying to get the car to rotate. He loses momentum, but he's in pretty good position now, going into 3 and 4. Both these drivers giving each other plenty of room. Back there watching in the popcorn position, that is Wilson. Wilson now gets to the inside of Liston. This has championship ramifications as Joe Snyder has got the lead, and the best thing that could be happening for Ribeye Joe is the battle going on for second between Wilson and Liston. Wilson gets the best of that one, and now here comes Adam Shane. Shane has already worked his way around Trey Bloom, and now would like to pick up a podium position. Adam Shane doing what Adam Shane does.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Snyder just perfect pass there on the exit of 4. Ran that middle high line on exit, and it got Liston uncomfortable. He smacked the wall, and now you see he's lost 3 spots here. He may fall back to 5th if the caveman can get by him.
Oh, how things have gone south for Todd Liston. Liston gets a little bit of the wall, as so many have been doing, as the tires are screaming at these drivers. Meanwhile, out in front, he hails from the state of Louisiana. His profession is a butcher, and he races not like a butcher, but clean as a nurse in intensive care. I don't know what I'm talking about. Joe Snyder is your leader.
I'll tell you what, Soup, I can't remember when I counted out that 23. Well, all of a sudden the tires have come back to him. He's right back on the rear end of Liston and Bloom here.
Oh my goodness, how things have gone south for Todd Liston. He was so close, and we are just 4 laps away. Liston continues to drop, and he gets into Holloway. Holloway saves it, as so many have done today. Holloway will not even lose a position as he falls back into the clutches of Jeffrey Harden. Jeffrey Harden waits and now gets the momentum. He'll try to get that pass made, but that is insignificant. Right now, we're going to turn our attention up front because this race is not over yet.
Round 2 to go. He's got 4 turns to do it.
The butcher against the goose. And if nicknames means anything, you got to figure that the butcher is going to come out ahead on this one. They come across the line. 4 corners to go. Down the backstretch.
He's got a good run. Can he throw it in high and try something big?
We've asked him about before. He says the goose don't race that way. Your winner, the Butcher of Baton Rouge, Ribeye Joe Snyder. John Wilson increases his point lead with the 2nd position. Adam Shane gets 3rd. And Liston stops the bleeding with 5th, right behind the caveman Trey Bloom, who hits the under and makes my partner a loser at the betting window. The race is over. Our broadcast is not. Don't go far. We'll be back to run down all the drivers, talk to some of them, and put a lock on the gate. You're watching the Virtual Pit Network.
This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots levels, where we all got our start, to the most popular race cars on the planet. From the fairgrounds of Nashville to the high banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to New Smyrna Speedway and VGN's 8th round coverage of the Bootleg Racing League Late Model Invitational Series, Season 27. Oh, we hope you enjoyed watching that one as much as we enjoyed calling it. Let's go ahead and give you the finishing order right now. 17 took the grid, 11 finished on the lead lap, and the first of those cars on the lead lap is the Butcher of Baton Rouge, Ribeye Joe Snyder, as he comes home with a well-deserved win, and he earned this one, as he was able to make the pass on Todd Liston and lead the last 11 laps on the way to a well-deserved victory. John Wilson, your points leader, is going to increase his gap to Liston as Liston faded at the end, 2nd place for the Canadian Goose. Adam Shane, well, we talk about it every week. How often can he do it? Does what he does. 14th to 3rd is Adam Shane. Trey Bloom, the caveman, he comes in 4th, hits the under number, and makes my partner a loser on that. Well done, Trey Bloom. Todd Liston goes from 2nd to 5th. He was leading for 40 laps before things went south for him. Jeffrey Harden comes home in 6th. 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. We'll go to Mike Holloway, Kurt Smith, Lowell Jewell, and Joe Segala. Shaggy?
Double Deuce Bruce Pearson brings home P11. Steve Hilbert in the 52 is going to bring home 12th. Jeff Kemper finishes in that Baker Dozen spot, P13. Chris Hazlett, 14th. Starting on the pole next week, the 61 of Tom Hilbert. He's going to bring home P15. Donnie Moore brings home that dreaded 16th spot. And rounding out the field tonight in the, I guess, the unlucky number 13 in this race here, Sue, Bobby Hayes.
You got it, as he finishes 17th on the pole. We'll see Tom Hilbert next round, so that'll be fun. All right, let's go ahead and dial up number 39, Joe Snyder. Joe, these interviews are starting to become a regular thing, but a win, that was a nice one.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And a well-deserved win. This one, you had to actually do some work on this one. You only led 11 laps, and you had to work on Liston.
Man, Liston's tough. I just, I think he just lost the tire battle at the end there. It looked like he was getting a little bit loose going into the corners, and I still had a little bit left, so I got him. I don't know how, but I got him.
It is so funny that you talk that, because when you first got into the series, you were always quick, and then the car was notorious for fading at the end. And you said, I got to get this tire thing figured out. Well, you did pretty good. In fact, you were really patient back there racing behind those guys.
Well, the tire thing figured out, it depends on the track. But yeah, I just played a little push-pull, looking at the guys ahead, looking at the guys behind, and if I didn't have to push, I was trying to save tires. I guess it worked out this time.
You did really well. It's always fun. It's a fan favorite to have you win. Good to see you up front. Well done. We'll see you down the road.
Thanks, man. And I just want to say thanks to Lowell and everybody involved. If it wasn't for BRL, I don't know if I'd be racing. Hey,
well, with that said, before you go, because, I don't mean to want to be pessimistic, but we only have one more race between now and Labor Day. And in case you don't podium for me, what is my cut of choice coming up for Labor Day? What am I looking for?
Labor Day is one of those another cheap meat holidays, man. Hamburgers.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That'll work for me. That's good.
When we get to Christmas, that's when you start spending the big bucks.
All right. That's good to know. Well, do me a favor. Get yourself a podium around holiday season so I know what to do. Thanks a lot, Joe Snyder. Well done, buddy.
Have a good night. Thank you.
All right. Always fun to talk to Ribeye Joe Snyder. All right, John, Shaggy, who you got?
Hey, John. Shaggy up here in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I got you, Shaggy. How are you, buddy?
Pretty good, man, but not as good as you. That thing was a hot rod here tonight, and you're showing guys once again you can't be afraid to muscle guys around on the high side. How much fun was that flying around the high side?
Well, I figured if I was going to get by somebody, I had to go where they're not running, and nobody was going up there, so I thought, you know what, let's give it a shot, and it worked.
Do you feel like that benefited you in the long run? Do you think it was a little easier on the tires up top rather than pinching yourself down on the bottom on exit?
Well, a couple of times that I had runs on the bottom on guys, you can't let the car drift up to the wall like you want to, so you really kill your momentum. And so the top side, you can kind of do the opposite and pinch those guys down, and it just seems to work. I don't know if it's really any harder on tires. In practice, it wasn't. I ran a few laps up there in practice just to see, and my tire usage was about the same as running the bottom. So I thought, you know what, let's try it.
Well, John, you made it work. Brought home a P2, and that's got to feel pretty good. And coulda, woulda, shoulda, but you hung with Joe. A couple more laps. Might be talking to somebody else first, but great run here, John. P2, man, can't hang your head on that. Who you want to thank?
Oh, yeah, I got to thank my teammates at Team CDR. Got to thank Lowell, of course, for putting the league on, because if he didn't do that, we wouldn't be doing this. And you guys up in the booth, man, the broadcasts are always awesome to go back and watch. You and Soup and Ryan do a phenomenal job. And I guess that's about it.
Yeah, great job, Ryan. But we don't want to, or John. But we don't want to give Ryan too much credit. Don't inflate his head. He knows he does a great job.
Hey, he makes us all look good.
Yeah, there we go. But great job, John. You're a popular name in this series, man, and I'm sure this isn't the last time I'll be talking to you.
Thank you, sir. I hope not.
All right, with John Wilson picking up a second place finish and stretching his points a little bit, we get an opportunity to talk to Adam Shane. Adam, I think the rules package really makes it rough on you. I think if they inverted the top 12, you'd get a lot more wins, but you'd have to do this every week. I tell you, you put on the show every week for us.
I think I agree with you, but I don't know. It seems like every time I start up front, I do bad. Every time I start in back, I do good. So I just keep me in the back, I reckon.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was talking to Ruben Altice about the same thing. He's notorious for doing it as well. And when either one of you guys get a position up front, we get optimistic because you don't have to work as hard. It never seems to work out as well. Nicely done. You were racing there with Mike Holloway. You guys were making your way through the field quite nicely.
Oh, yeah, it was fun with him. I was kind of, just following through, and then I ended up getting by him, and then he was on me, and I kind of tried to save something, and he was on me, and I was just like, God, I gotta go a little bit more. But towards the end, when there was like that group of 5, I think I burned everything. Time I got to third, I didn't have nothing for them.
It's funny you mentioned that, Coach. You can see what happened to Todd Liston once they go. I mean, I've never been in a car. Well, I have been in these cars a little bit, never up front and so close to the end of the race. It seems like once they go, man, it really goes. Were you worried about hanging on?
At the end, I was. I was hoping I had something. It felt good, and then it's like the last 10 laps, it just felt like it just kept going and going and going. And like I said, by the time I got to third, I thought I could have something, and then they just pulled away. I was like, yeah, I have nothing. I burned it all.
The good news is you get a third. The bad news is you're going to start in the back again next week, so you got to do the whole thing again. Fun to watch a race, man. Congratulations. We'll see you down the road.
Thank you. I'll see you guys next weekend.
Adam Shane, your third place finisher here today. I just want to double down a little bit of what John Wilson was talking about, and maybe also about a little bit of what Joe Snyder said. If Lowell Jewell didn't do what he did, he wouldn't be racing. You know, I really think iRacing needs to give these private leagues, especially the ones that are broadcast, they don't realize the importance that they play in keeping guys around. And I don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but we do play an important part on the iRacing platform. Everybody that does these broadcast series, and wherever you are, if you're doing them under big audiences or little audiences, it's great to give the drivers some place to race. With that said, we're going to talk about when you can see us again, and it's going to be next week. Now, check this out. That's not Labor Day. Cheap meat weekend will be off. That's burgers and hot dogs, according to Ribeye Joe Snyder. But we are back next week, and we're going to South Boston. That'll put on a good show because these guys really know that racetrack. It's a doubleheader Saturday, so you don't want to miss that. Coming up later in the fall, we're thinking that we might have some road racing. We're hoping to get that done with ABL, but we're just dropping that hit a little bit, so don't go far. With that said, I'm going into the closet and look for your hat. I see nothing, so I'm just going to give you a fist bump and say, until next time, have fun storming the castle.